The Israeli and U.S. Air Forces held a joint aerial drill with one of the planes being an American B-52 bomber. Was this exercise a direct message to the Iranian regime? Well, Sean Durns, senior research analyst at Camera, is here to break down the implications. So, Sean, what was the drill?
So this was a joint exercise with the United States and Israel with their air forces, and as you noted, Raj, with the B-52. So this harkens back in some respects to days during the Cold War, in which we would use major bombers to send signals.
What do you think the message was?
I think the message, and I think it was actually quite clear to Iran, could be summed up in a single word: don't. So I think, right now what the Trump administration is doing is they're trying to restore deterrence, which completely eroded in the Middle East and elsewhere over the last several years. And that's quite the challenge. And Iran, of course, is the leading state sponsor of terrorism. And they're also on the threshold of acquiring nuclear weapons. For Israel, that's absolutely an existential threat. And it is for the United States, too, because Iran is working on an intercontinental ballistic missile program. With the idea being they would put those nukes on missiles that could potentially hit the United States as well as key allies like Israel.
So what's the big deal about the B-52 bomber besides it being huge and scary? What does that actually mean?
So really, this is sending a signal to Iran, to the ruling theocrats that control Iran and repress the Iranian people, and that signal is do not attempt to have a nuclear breakout period, that we will not tolerate it. Today, Trump himself said there'll be some interesting days ahead with Iran. We are down to final strokes with Iran. We can't let them have a nuclear weapon. Something is going to happen very soon. I would rather have a peace deal, he noted, than the other option, but the other option will solve the problem. And so that right there, that other option, I think, is signified with the B-52.
There's a lot of folks who say, even in some of our comment sections when we talk about Iran, there was this huge report from the IAEA, what was it, last week, that Iran is, super close to having everything. And the reaction is, you guys have been saying they've been super close for like years. Right. So how serious is this actually this time?
That's a fantastic question, Raj. And it should be noted that the U.S. in the past has gotten things wrong about Iran's nuclear program. In fact, the nuclear program wasn't revealed by American intelligence. It was actually revealed by Iranian dissidents years ago. So this was something that the American intelligence community had missed. Israel, which of course is very vaunted intelligence capabilities, has managed to reveal that Iran has been increasingly on the path to acquiring a nuclear weapon, despite whatever pretenses it puts on in public, that is in fact a mask. Iran is pursuing a nuclear weapon, and this is something that for Israel and for the United States is not tolerable.
Okay, so I have a two-parter for my last question. The first question is, do you think Iran would actually use a nuclear bomb? Or is this just, hey, we want to be a part of the big boy crowd so that we have whatever it might be? But do you think they'd actually use a bomb? And then secondly, on the other side, do you think the United States and Israel would actually bomb said nuclear facilities anytime soon?
I will take the second part, or the second question rather, first. Yes, I do. I think that option is very much on the table. Israel will not allow Iran, the leading state sponsor of terrorism, which has backed proxies which perpetrated the largest slaughter of Jews since the Holocaust on October 7, 2023, to acquire nuclear weapons. They might have had perhaps a different logic or calculus about that prior to October 7th. I would imagine that has changed after that horrific event. As far as the United States goes, I think that the U.S., of course, shares Israel's concerns and has a shared interest in preventing Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon. And the reason for that is Iran is not a normal state. Henry Kissinger famously said something years ago to the effect that Iran has to decide whether it wants to be an idea or a state. And the Islamic Republic is a revolutionary regime. It is a revisionist regime. It is fervently ideological, and it seeks to vanquish the United States and its allies from the Middle East, and it openly calls for the genocide of Jews and the destruction of the Jewish state. So that's something that certainly is not tolerable for Israel, and it's not tolerable for the United States either.
Sean Durns, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you so much, Raj.